Books on the Brain.
Welcome back to Books on the Brain, a podcast of books and nonsense. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Deirdre.
And we're alive and
We're alive.
And we're here.
She's alive.
She's alive. She's alive. How are you, dear listener, dear folks at home? Hope you're doing well, and hope you missed us as much as we missed you.
Yeah. I meant to look this up before we started recording, but I wanted to see when the last time we uploaded a
Oh my god.
episode was, because it's been a while. I cannot get that close to the camera. The light is washing me out.
Little girl, what are you doing? What's the little girl doing?
Okay, our last episode went out July 26th.
Okay, so here's the thing.
So that
Not as
actually,
far as I thought.
it feels like it's been longer than that.
It does. It's been a crazy couple months. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you what. What have you been up to, dude?
Okay. So many
Since
things.
July.
So many things. So I actually don't remember when we recorded that episode. So I closed my Broadway show, and have been. I was saying to people all summer, I'm happily unemployed, because it was actually nice to take a break after grad school and working full time, for a little bit. But now, towards the beginning of September, I was kind of like, I'm not so happily unemployed anymore. I would like to have some monies entering my bank account. But I am back to work, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So while I was unemployed, we entered the season of the weddings, which I talked about way at the beginning of this season of the podcast, that this is the year of the wedding for me. So I have now been to 2 bridal showers, 1 bachelorette, and 2 weddings, and I have 1 more wedding to go. So the summer was very much a celebrating my friends and doing the wedding thing, and I was celebrating with my family my graduation. My sister graduated from high school, so we were celebrating that and her going to college, and just really wholeheartedly enjoying the life that I kind of have to step away from when I'm working on a theater contract. I think, this, but I think a lot of people that don't work in theater don't understand how much you sacrifice in life, the life balance of work-life balance.
Non-existent.
Yeah, and the caveat of that is, at least I found, was the life portion. I ended up spending it with a lot of my coworkers because we were already spending a lot of time together. So we'd go out after the show, and do things. A lot of the holiday things that I did last year kind of revolved around doing it with my coworkers. And it was a lot more minimized the time I was spending with my non-work friends and my family. So I feel like I really took advantage of my time off to spend as much time with my family and my non-work friends as possible. Just because I don't know, I'm still in that period of am I going back to theater full time? Am I pursuing something else? I don't know. So might as well take full advantage while I have the time. And the summer is a really great time to do that because so many people have sort of summer Fridays or extended time that they can take away from work, that it lends itself to being more readily available for people.
Yeah.
So that was my summer, which was fun. And now I am back in theater for a little bit, but on the design and administrative side, I'm I'm a costume assistant for a production of Jersey Boys that is going to be in Vegas. But I'm gonna have to check with my boss and make sure that I can say that out loud.
There.
Oops.
Sherry, baby, Sherry.
Yep, that's the one. So I have been in the bowels of our storage this week, organizing and pulling things for the cast. Excuse me.
So fun.
So fun. And applying to non-theater jobs. That's
Woo!
it. While I'm still thinking about it, I saved this story. Danielle and I were talking before the podcast. And I was like, I'm gonna wait to tell this story on air because I want your reaction to be what's the word? Archived forever and ever.
Okay.
So right before I'm sure I talked about this in the episodes at the beginning of the summer, but I graduated from my master's program. Woohoo. So slay. A month after graduation, right? So I have my diploma in hand, or it's coming. I actually can't remember when this lined up with me getting my diploma. I have walked. My thesis has been active on its posted website. People have reached out to me about reading it at this point, like all that kind of stuff. And I get an email from the school saying that I, in fact, have not graduated and that I am short some of my credits and I need to go into the system and see what I'm missing. And I was like, I don't think that's how this should be working. I think you should be in this email telling me exactly what I'm missing, because you, as the administrative people of this school, should have access to that. If you don't, that seems like something that should be worked out. Like both of my experiences at my undergrad and my graduate schools, I get really frustrated with the way some of the admin stuff is handled, because they just like to send out these mass emails to people when they should be tailored personally.
Yes.
Like, hello? So I call the office because I actually can't get access to the website they're telling me to go to. And I vividly remember it's pouring rain. I'm out, I'm running errands. I have my, I'm under my umbrella running through the rain on the phone. And I get this lady on the phone and I'm like, what is this email? What are you talking about? And she was like, well, I can't pull that information up. You're going to have to go. And I was like, the website's not working. So I don't really understand what's going on. I'm not willing to wait for answers. Like I walked in graduation, and she was like, well, that doesn't mean that you graduated. And I was like, do you have any idea how many emails I got leading up to graduation day that were like, make sure all your stuff is imported? Like I had already applied for graduation where I had to make sure that all my ducks were in a row so that I was eligible to attend graduation. Like I just don't think that that's true, that I can walk without having fulfilled my requirements. So
I'm pretty sure that is, you cannot walk.
Also, my thesis had been live for 2 months at this point, because I submitted my thesis a month before graduation. So and then she was like, well, is your thesis done? And I was like, yes, it is. Yes, it's been approved. It is live. I have the link to it if you want to read it.
Yeah.
And so she was like, okay, you need to sort this out. And I was like, what? So then I emailed the chair of the department, which at this point, it is June. The school is closed. All the people that are like departmental people aren't working. They're not being paid to work. So I would be lucky to get an email back at this point. So I sent an email. I was like, please, I am like standing on the corner crying at this point. Like, I don't know what to do. And she responds back to me and she was like, I'm really sorry. You are not the only person that got this email. I'm sorting it out. It's not true. They're having a full system error.
I'd say free school. I'd say they pay you.
I was like, I want money for emotional damages, please. And thank you.
That's crazy that they were like, especially this woman on the phone being like, well, you need to sort it. No, you need to sort it out.
You need to sort it out because you have a full-on system error that is affecting hundreds of students.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then I got what?
I would have lost my mind. I would have lost
I was texting people, I was calling people, I was like, is anybody else getting this email? What is going on? What could I possibly have missed? Like,
yes, that your classmates didn't. Yeah.
Our advisors, because our program is so small, our advisors were really good at being like, okay, these are the courses that you need. Why haven't you finished your internship? Like, you need to send in this paperwork so that I can mark it in your system. Like, you currently have a pass fail, like, incomplete, basically. Like, I need to be able to mark it. So, you know, like, I got all those emails to finish certain things that were in holding up until the month before graduation. But I graduated.
That's crazy.
Drove me nuts.
Well, at least you're done, and you don't have to go back.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Meanwhile, people are like, so what are you thinking? And I'm like, I might get my PhD.
You're like, I might as well at this point. I'm like halfway there.
Exactly.
More than halfway. Well, maybe just go somewhere else. Where I don't know.
Yeah.
They
don't have a PhD program, so I don't have to worry about.
Well, there you go.
That.
That's fair.
Yeah,
holy crap, dude.
I think that's all the like life things that have been going on. How about you?
Busy. Summer I was working full-time summer camps, living my full life, living my why am I still doing summer camps at 28 life. But they're fun. I had fun. And then I started my final semester of school, so I'm doing my professional semester 3, which is like our internship. And I got placed in a high school. It's my first high school placement, teaching drama and musical theater, which is like my dream. I'm so excited and so happy. And then it's just been busy, like having to submit all of our paperwork for the whole term a month before school started, like all of our unit plans, all of our long range plans, lesson plans and stuff. It was good because they're done. But also now I'm like halfway through, not even, I'm like, there's units that I'm changing because I'm like, this doesn't fit the vibe of my kids. I had to call home for some kids. My first time calling parents, being like, hey, hold on.
Bless you.
Sorry. Can you tell I work with kids? I'm like always a little sick.
Lovely.
It's just what it is at this point. I had my first parent meeting. I like called a mom and I was like, hey, your kid, blah 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 blah. And she was like, I'm like 5 minutes away. Can I come meet you in person? I was like, yeah. So I like cleaned up my desk. I like pulled out all the missing assignments I need from her. I was like, she brings her daughter into the meeting too, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this kid maybe twice, and I was like, hey, girlfriend, how's it going? So that was, her mom was it was a great first thing because her mom was very kind and she's a sweet kid, so it was totally fine. But I was like, and Deirdre knows this, but my school is making national news for bad reasons, so it's been a lot. But it's been very rewarding. Like, the school community is so great, and like the kids that I get to interact with are so amazing and awesome. And interacting with high school kids is so cool because you can have some genuinely really cool conversations with them. Which is so, or they like can come to you for advice and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm making an impact. I'm not just like the person to walk you to the bathroom. This is crazy. Like, it's crazy the difference between high school and elementary. It's very rewarding and very sweet. I'm also doing a show right now. Just kicking my butt a little bit. I'm doing a show. It's part of one of my professors at school has been doing this like death thematic work through most of her career. So she's putting on a series called the Waking Death series, which is government funded at this point, which is kind of slay. So we're not getting paid, which is so slay.
Love that.
but it's like it's been this month of art installations. So there's like sculptors, there's painters, there's fiber artists, there's this like giant crocheted skeleton. Like it is like, I'd say like 20 feet, 30 feet. It's huge.
Wow.
With all these guts and stuff that are like crocheted, and there's like this crocheted skull archway at this art center downtown. And there's like indigenous artists, and there's some other, like, there has been a whole bunch of like performance art installations. Like this guy had a VR experience, roller coaster death coaster. I didn't go because I was in Calgary, but sounded really cool. But our show goes up on the last day of this series. And it's modeled after like the midnight ghost shows that would happen at the turn of the 18th century, where people would like make the projectors and project ghouly images on the wall and scare people. And then like in the tradition of the Grand Guignol and all these like horror theaters, doing these crazy things. But yeah, we're doing this. It's called the Late Night Ghost Show. It's conversations on death, grief, and dying, which has been tough. I like, they'll say things in rehearsal and I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. I just need to go process. We talked about last breaths, and I was like, I gotta go.
We talked about opening band-aids before the podcast, and that just opened a band-aid for me, and I would like to close it, please.
Sorry, I'm closing the band-aid.
Thank you.
But the show is crazy. I'm wearing a whole bunch of ghost sheets, so my hair is permanent. Like, that's why I'm wearing a hat, because my hair is like under these ghost sheets, it just rubs. So I've been trying to put my hair in braids, but it's just, I have so much breakage currently. I hate it so bad.
Nice.
And then in the last piece, I play piano in this ghost sheet, but I can't see anything because it's a ghost sheet. So I just sit and I try my best. Because here's the thing, I've never claimed, and I've never will claim, that I am a good piano player. I'm not. I am self-taught. My piano teacher passed away before I could really get any good at it. And rest in peace, that wonderful lady. Well,
understood.
You know. So I'm self-taught. And so I try my very best, but it sometimes sucks. People are like, can we do this? And I'm like, give me 3 to 5 business days to think about it, to go home and write it all down and just sit on my little crappy piano and figure it out. Yeah, my TM, who's like my mentor for my school, she was like, all your teaching stuff is really, really great. She's like, if I could give you one piece of advice, it would be like, invest in some pianos. And I was like, I'm a drama teacher. I was like, I know I suck at piano. And here's the thing, I'm not even that bad. It's like I'm in this gray area where I'm like good enough to go along, but I will make mistakes.
Yeah.
And when you have kids who aren't super like confident, proficient singers yet, it is derailing to them if I'm like playing the wrong accidentals.
Sure.
So but at least they get to see me fail.
Yeah.
And I can fail graciously in front of them. But yeah, so my piano skills are under attack and I deserve it. So
understood.
And I haven't even put basic piano on my resume, which I probably at this one should probably take off. I don't know if it's true anymore. But I can chord. You give me an E minor chord, girl, I'm there. C major, done. F, gotcha. G, easy. A minor, got you. B flat,
no.
A flat, no.
I love how this just turned into naming chords.
Yeah, but if you play, you know, because anytime I'm like, if it's 1 black note, I can do it. If it's 2 black notes,
I haven't actively played the piano since I was like 6, so I don't actually think I know.
No, it's okay. It's one of those things where I'm like, if it's got more than 1 black note, you know I'm gonna be hitting the wrong note first, hearing the minor chord and going, oh crap. That sounds awful.
Oops.
Yeah, but I'm playing piano more than I've played in years.
Nice.
Of my own doing. I keep
Cool.
being like, I'm gonna do this. We're doing this lesson where I need to play piano. And I could do other things, but I'm like, no, we're doing this. So at least we're trying.
You're trying. You just reminded me that I have also been on a musical journey lately. And I have been playing the flute more in the last 3 months than I have in the last 3 years, which is really exciting.
Flute alert.
Flute alert. My one of my friends from work loves that I play flute so much that she named one of our group chats Flutes.
I love that.
Just flutes. She brings it up all the time. She's like, "Where's the flute? Why isn't it here?" And I was like, "Because it's at home. Why would I need to bring my flute anywhere?"
Like, we're having brunch. What do you mean?
She had a barbecue over the summer. She was like, "Bring the flute." I was like, "You got it."
I said, whatever you want, dude.
Whatever you want.
That's so funny. That is so funny. How's reading been going for my guy Deirdre?
Let's
Pretty good.
see. I've been reading.
I'm nowhere near my reading goal. I actually lowered it to 100 books. So now I did surpass my reading goal. It went from 200 to 100.
How many books have you read so far this year?
Only 109. Which honestly, I am proud because this has been a heck of a year and I haven't had a break. I've gone from school to summer school to full-time work to school.
Yeah.
So are they mostly all Kindle Unlimited books? Yeah. And that is what it is. That is, it's just, when do I have time to pull out a book? I have time to be on my phone and scroll and read a book on my phone.
Yes.
I don't have time to pick up a physical book.
Yeah, I've been the opposite with ebooks, like reading with my eyeballs, whether it's been ebooks or physical books, has been hard. Audiobooks,
oh heck yeah,
flying, which sucks because I have this giant stack of books on my nightstand that I was like, oh, I'm gonna read these in September. I couldn't find any of the audiobooks on my apps. None of them.
Oh.
And I don't really use Audible. Like,
no.
My roommate and I she lets me in on her account, but I'm not trying to like use her credits to get audiobooks. No. So yeah, out of 14 books, I listened to one.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And I have 2 Libby library cards for 2 different
different districts. Yeah.
I also found out that I might actually be eligible for a 3rd one, so we'll see.
Kind of slave.
Oh, and you just reminded me I need to renew my library card. I also have my second, so that's 2 ways, right? Then I have another library app because I have Libby and Hoopla. And then I pay for a script.
Yep.
I do use Libro. I'm currently not, I've had my membership paused, so I am solely relying on the influencer copies. And they don't really have free downloads very often like Audible does.
No, they have excerpts.
Exactly. So I'm not really going to them to search up the physical copies that I have, but I was like, damn, I really am striking out here with these books that I have on my TBR.
I've only been listening to one audiobook and it's going slow.
What is it?
The Jill Duggar one.
Oh.
Counting the Cost.
Have you watched Shiny Happy People?
Oh, absolutely, I have. Yes, I've watched Shiny Happy People. Anytime I go home to Calgary, me and my mom will catch up on any kind of true crime, whatever.
Yeah.
So we just watched the Murdoch Miss Murder.
Oh yeah, how was it?
Well, because they put out the first season, which was and then they put up an update, which was what happened with the son and the mom's murder trial.
Okay.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
I should watch it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that has been like I don't know why I counting the cost, shiny happy people, Murdoch. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a through line. um but yeah, been doing that. But yeah, I've just been downloading a whole bunch of books from Libro and not listening to them.
I know. I actually just finished one yesterday, which I was really happy about.
What did you finish?
The Vampires of El Norte by Isabel
Ooh.
Cañas.
Ooh.
And it's like a dark, I actually don't even know if it's really gothic. I don't think it is. I think I want to use that word for like the aesthetic, but I think
Yeah.
aesthetic is the word I should be using instead of gothic.
Yeah.
Um uh like romance thriller
Ooh.
kind of.
Ooh.
And it's about these
Thriller.
two lovers who grow up together. The girl is the daughter of people that like own a ton of land,
Mm.
and the boy is a son of people that live and work on that land. And they like fall in love as kids, and she knows that like she probably cannot marry him when she grows up because she is expected to marry for connections.
Yes.
But she's like, they're so in love with each other, and then she gets attacked when she's with him. And it's like by this like thing, it like attacks her neck. You kind of get the idea of what maybe happened to her, but it's all like very aesthetic and like what's happening. And he takes her back to the house, and everybody's saying that she's dead. And so he is so overcome. He's like, I can't stay here if she's dead. Like, I have to leave. And he leaves. And then she wakes up and he's gone.
No.
And so 9 years pass, and he is like, she's haunting me. Like, I can never go back there. He's using other women to like fill a void. And she is like, I'm so mad at him. Like, I've been writing him letters and I never hear back from him. And I still don't understand why he left. And then there is this like invasion from the United States happening in Mexico. And so there's a lot of land disputes happening. And so her dad kind of sends out a call to people and is like, we need help. We need people to come help defend this land.
Whoa.
And so he comes back and is faced with the fact that she's alive. And she's like,
Dang.
get out of here. I'm so mad at you. And I promise none of that was spoilers. That's all like in the first chunk of the book.
Whoa.
And then there's like all of this like romance tension, but also this like atmospheric tension because of the political sphere happening in the book. And she's trying to like break out of this mold that she's been set into by like historically what she should as a woman. And there's also this like, there are people attacking the land that are inherently human, but then there are also these like monstrous things that people are trying not to believe in because it seems crazy, but also like people keep getting bitten like she was. And
whoa.
Yeah. So there's like a whole lot of metaphors happening with the vampires. Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
It was, and the audiobook was so good.
Yeah.
So good. So that was my latest Libro listen.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Have you been in any like eras over the last few months? Like, are there any themes to what you're reading?
I've been like in my, I think I'm still kind of in my single parent era. Maybe it's the fact that I'm with kids every day that I'm like, but I've been reading a lot of single parent romance. I'm trying to get into my fantasy because I can tell like my body and my soul and my heart and my brain wants to get back into some fantasy, especially we, for like the first time in years, are getting fall in Lethbridge. Like we usually just go from summer straight to winter because it snows. We have like fall. It's like we have leaves on the ground and it's like fall. So I'm like, I feel like I want to get into some fantasy.
Well, if you want a fantasy light recommendation to maybe
Okay.
ease you into the fantasy feels, I
Yes.
need more people to read The Secret Service of Tea and Treason by India Holden.
How did you read it?
I listened to the audiobook, but I also own the physical book.
Okay. Okay. I gotta write down.
You're really thinking about it.
Yeah, keep talking.
It's a Victorian historical romance.
Okay.
It's the third book in a series.
Oh, yes, I do remember you talking about this.
So you could start with the first book, or you could start with the third book, like I did. And they tell you everything that's going on. So it's not like you're going to be lost where this book kind of comes from within the world. But it's about two secret agents,
yes,
who have been on assignment and now have been called in because there's a threat against Queen Victoria's life from this group of pirates. And they have to go and plant themselves as pirates at this gathering and try and foil this plot. Both of them are autistic coded. So, or coded for autism. I've been talking about this book for months and I still haven't figured out the proper way to say that phrase. And
it depends, I think. So I don't think either of them are wrong.
So there's this incredible amount of humanity in both of their characters, and it ends up making for these very funny moments where like they are thinking through their logic of how to do things, but then the pirates are so incredibly illogical that they still think that they are weird for the things that they choose to do, even though the two of them are like, yeah, but the rest of society does it this way, so what are you talking about?
That's so funny.
And it leads to these like mayhem and mishap moments that are just like incredibly endearing and hysterical. And so it's like there's a little bit of magic, like the pirates' houses fly and there's a feud between witches and pirates, and there's all these like crazy things that happen, like there's a battle up in the sky between the houses, and the one girl uses her petticoats as a parachute.
That's so cute.
Right? But at its heart, it is this like really wonderful romantic comedy. So I think that one and Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson really helped me get back into my fantasy reading.
There you go. There you go. I love that. I love the idea of her using her petticoats like a parachute. That's so funny.
It was so funny. She was like, deploy.
That's so silly. Yeah, I think all I've been reading honestly has been like sequels. September was the month of sequels coming out.
Okay.
Like the Lucy Score, the Knockmoot, I don't know. Whatever the like things we left behind, things we should have said,
sure.
The Daisy covers. The third book in that series came out. So good. Another Kokanian book came out, read that. It was great.
I'm so behind in that series.
I know.
I'm so behind.
I feel like every time I read one, you're like, there's another one.
I'm not prepared. I need to. I think I finished Feiho. Which one's the pirate?
That's that. Yeah, the one who's like takes around on the ship. Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't finished that one. That's the one I'm on.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think I'm 2 or 3 behind.
Yeah, you're not. I think that's like 5 or something. I think you're right. Yeah. So the 7th book came out, which was pretty good. Liked it pretty good. The Playing for Keeps, the 3rd books in the Vancouver hockey series that I'm reading came out in September. Read that. It was great.
Okay.
Literally like everything. All of the sequels came out and they're still coming out. It's like the season of the sequels. So I just will like patiently wait until they pop up on my continue reading series and I'm like, yeah, here we go.
It is time.
It is time. I'm reading the new Sarah Kate book that just came out in the Salacious Players series, and
I feel like I don't know her.
she wrote like, so she's it's like a adult club series.
Oh, you know, my favorite of the
Yeah,
subgenres. It is.
obviously.
Like, I'm being so serious.
I know, and I said she wrote. I had issues with some of the earlier books in the series. So the first one is her son's ex-girlfriend and the dad, which whatever.
Okay.
And then it was step siblings, which I was like, girl,
No, no, thank
they
you.
weren't right. And it was like, here's all these reasons why it's okay. And I was like, it could be anybody but.
Yeah.
And then there was
Anybody but.
it could be anybody but. And then the new book came out, which has a female lead, and I was like, I'll read it. It's okay. It's pretty slow, but yeah, it's fine because it's also like super low brain power, so I can like read a chapter before I go to bed and not feel like I have to stay up and keep reading, which is nice.
Yeah. I think that's my problem right now is I am opting to watch Gilmore Girls to fall asleep instead of reading because the books I'm in the middle of take big brain power to finish just one chapter. And I'm like, oh, because I'm currently reading this isn't what I'll talk about at the end. So I feel fine talking about it now. I'm still reading Assassin's Apprentice.
Yes. Yes.
Which if you've been following me online, I was doing a buddy read in September with a couple friends, and I was going to read a chapter a day. I was going to stay on top of things because there's only like 20 something chapters, but they're all like 10 to 15 pages long. And for me, they're laid out in a way where like a week will pass, but there's no break in the paragraphs. So I'm like, I need like one of those little like design thingies in the middle of the page or a chapter break to let me know that like something is happening other than just the words on the page. And the audiobook was literally putting me to sleep. I tried to listen to the audiobook. It was formatted terribly in Hoopla. It was just one long audio file. It wasn't broken up into chapters. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to brave it. I'm going to duo read it while I'm reading the book and listen to it and see if that helps me move it along. I couldn't even find where I was in the book because it's just one long audio file. I was like, who did this? And
oh my God,
it was so bad. So I am on chapter 10, I think. I started the other night. Yes, 10. And I'm still not quite halfway through.
That's okay.
But
you're making progress.
This is I was like, why was I talking about this? This book is keeping me from reading at night because I like don't really want to sit in bed and read it. It feels like it needs to be active reading time.
Yes. Fair. I love that. Do you want to talk about your current reads, or do we want to talk about something else? What do you want to talk about, kiddo?
I would like keep pulling up my notes app because I'm like, we haven't talked in so long, and I feel like we've read so many books. What was your last 5-star read?
Oh gosh. Oh, it was the knockdown, the things we whatever. Hold on. Things we left behind, because it's like the series follows, like the first book is a brother, and then the sequel is his brother, who's like a cop, and then this third book is like their friend who is like a brother. And it's this his name is Lucian, and he was raised next door to the protagonist Sloane, and we find out that Lucian had a really tough home life, and he would sneak into Sloane's bedroom window after his dad would beat him up, and they like slowly fell in love, and then Sloane basically if it's the timeline's not in chronological order, so like we actually find out this information later in the book, but we found out what happened. They have this big falling out, and now they're like enemies. Like all their friends are friends,
Okay.
but they'll show up to parties and just like be at each other.
Mm.
But then they like start like kindling some kind of romance, and then we find out kind of what happened to them, and that it's just it's just like a good small town romance with a little bit of spice. He's like this millionaire, so we get his side of like the business because he goes into like the bigger city nearby to do his big business thing.
Sure.
It's just a great book. I was like, this is, and because my thing is Lucy Score is not my fave author.
Okay.
She's not terrible.
Right.
This series is really good. Her writing style fits really well because she writes really long books. So when they're like the Mariana Zapata, like small town, we really get immersed in this world. I don't mind the length.
Yeah.
But when it's like just another romance book and it's 600 pages, it's too long.
Yeah.
Like these books are like chonky. But when it's also seeing glimpses of the other people's relationships and like meeting these characters that through the through lines we get to see kind of fleshed out. It's so nice and rewarding. And there's like a whole true crime aspect too. There's like a mafia subplot in it, whatever, like crime boss, whatever.
Yeah.
He's not part of it, but it was just good. I really like, if you are looking for like, I'm going to read one book, I would start with the first book in that series. Like if you are one book at a time kind of person.
Yeah.
And then to bump from the next two, it's a really easy like read through all of them.
Okay.
And that's what I love that. What was your last 5-star read?
My last 5-star read, I actually think it's been a while. I have a lot of 4.5s.
Whoa.
My last 5-star read was Darkwater Daughter, which I think I talked about probably in the last episode. But the 4.5s have been The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang.
You finally read The Kiss Quotient.
I did. I read The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test. I'm still putting off
Heart Principle.
Heart Principle, because I've heard it's sad.
Sad.
And I can't do it. I've DNF'd so many romance books that are too sad or have too many like sad side adjacent things happening. I was at an event in August for Nisha Sharma. Yeah. And I got talking to a couple people there, and I fully just shared my trauma and trigger warnings because we were talking about books we were DNFing, and I was like, cancer, dead grandparents, and really any kind of like dead relatives that's like entered within the first chapter as something that's going to be present. DNF'd. I don't want to hear about it. I can't do it. I still can't do it.
Which is fair.
Then The Secret Service of Tea and Treason, which I just talked about. And The Fragile Threads of Power. And honestly, Vampires at Vale Norte too, but The Fragile Threads of Power was my last 4.5. It was like 4.75. Not quite 5.
Yeah. Pretty close. Pretty close.
Very close.
Pretty dang close. That's exciting. Yeah, I feel like I have not been reading a lot. Oh, I do have a 5-star read that's a children's book.
Tell me.
Oliver Jeffers, who wrote the day that, well, he didn't write it. He did the drawings for The Day That the Crayons Went Home or Quit, where it's like crayons leave.
Cute.
But he writes some of my favorite children's books. He wrote one, I talk about it often, it's called The Fate of Fausto. I always read it in my classes because it's this great conversation about entitlement, colonialism, environmentalism, but in a very palatable way. And it starts to write great conversations. So I just read it with my grade 10s because we were doing a object theater unit, so whatever. So I went to see, I was like, okay, what is this guy doing? What's his new book like? So I go to the kids section in chapters. And he has this ghost book that I don't have in my collection of his, and it's called There's a Ghost in My House.
Okay.
And it's these photographs of old homes, and it's this little girl who he like, because he's a multimedia artist. So there's photos, and then he draws the girl onto the photos, and then there's invisible sheet pages that you'll flip and the ghost will appear on the photo. So the girl will be like, I hope I find a ghost, and then it flips and the ghost's like hiding behind the banister. It's so cute. And like
I love
sometimes they'll be
that.
double ghost layers where it's like a ghost and then another ghost will appear. And it's this girl just going through the house being like, where the ghosts be at? And the ghosts are like, um,
For
and
anybody
then
that's only listening to
oh
this
sorry,
podcast and isn't watching on YouTube, Danielle
that's
just
on
made
you.
like a creeping over the banister, eyes up in the air, being shy face.
You should come look it on YouTube. Do it. Or do the face again. But the end of the book, he talks about like why he wrote this book. He's like fascination with ghosts, whatever. And I found and I learned that a group of ghosts is called afraid of ghosts.
Oh,
Afraid of ghosts. Come on, how cool is that?
I love that.
Uh, afraid of ghosts. I was like, gosh darn it, it's pretty good. Pretty good, Oliver Jeffers. Yeah, so that was another 5-star read that I was like, and the book is huge. The book is like a huge picture book, which is so fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just am like, I love having books like that because they're just like little art pieces that like,
Yeah.
but it's sitting the backseat of my car
Mm-hmm.
has turned into a bookstore. I
It's
will
my
get
apartment,
books.
so.
I will get books in the mail, open the packages, not review them, and just throw the special edition Bone Season that Bloomsbury sent out. Sitting in
Yeah.
my back seat.
Oh my
It's
God.
gorgeous.
Mine's right
It's
here.
gorgeous. Mine's in my back seat. Gina B. Jones in the stupid smelly school bus in my back seat. Got that from a little fruit library. Nobody sent me that.
Nice.
Yeah, I have like probably 6 books just on the back. And then people get into my car and they just stack them in the middle of the seat. And then when I drive, they fall.
Nice.
Yes, so books are infiltrating every part of my being, not just my apartment.
Oh, I feel surrounded by
It's
them.
crazy. My trunk is also filled with books.
Nice.
So and pianos and a pool noodle and Christmas ornaments. So
Of course.
so I left up my trunk. I'm at school. I'm changing out of my Crocs into my like runners because I can't wear Crocs at school, which because they hate women. They don't hate women.
They might.
Because I just want to wear Crocs. I just want to wear Crocs, okay? They actually never told me I couldn't. I just assumed I couldn't. They probably would be fine if I wore Crocs.
It's a fair assumption, I think.
I don't know. People, they wear like ripped jeans, and I was like, if y'all are ripped jeans, I can't be Crocs. Also, my Crocs are really dirty, so I don't think I could anyway. Anyway, so I'm opening my trunk, changing my shoes, because I'm gonna go teach my musical theater classes, so I'm putting my Crocs back on.
Yeah.
My TM drives past me, sees me at my trunk with like books falling out, a piano. And I didn't realize she'd saw. And then the next day, they kept having an announcement from the office being like, if there are students parked in the staff parking lot, you need to come move your car. And I jokingly said, like, my car is so dirty that they probably think my car is a student car. She's like, yeah, I wasn't going to say anything. But when I drove past, I was really amazed how much stuff you could fit in your trunk. And I was like, oh, God. So, like, now that I've been perceived, I have to fix it and clean it.
Not
Where
amazed.
I was like, where am I supposed to put a box of Christmas ornaments? I don't have space in my apartment. I do, but I just don't want to. Where am I going to put a pool noodle? Return it to the people I borrowed it from? Maybe. What am I going to do with the boxes of PR that I've been waiting to unbox because I haven't made videos in months? They're in my trunk. What do you want from me? So if anyone wants to come and just body double with me so I can get things done, that would be very nice. I just need someone to be around to watch me and shame me so I can get things done. How I feel right now. Boy, yeah, dude.
I feel that.
Boy, yeah.
Do you want to talk current reads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go fast.
Okay.
I'm currently reading I'm currently reading all the books I already said because I forgot we do a current read segment. But one that I'm gonna start reading, which I think I'll talk about, is I went and bought Cruel Seduction, Katie
I'm behind in
Roberts.
this series too.
Okay, so here's the thing. This one was the last one to come out. Radiant Sin, which is the Apollo Cassandra one. Yes. This one is Aphrodite, Hephaestus.
Hephaestus?
Sure. Adonis. And somebody else. Oh, and Pandora.
Uh,
But I was like, because I know I get through these in like a sitting, maybe two. So I'm like waiting until I have a break to pop into this, but I'm very excited. This is Cruel Seduction by Katie Robert, in case I didn't say it.
You did.
Just keeping you on your toes. Keeping you on your toes. That I'm excited to keep popping through and reading. I'm also excited to finish Fourth Wing, and I'm gonna do it. Gosh darn it, I'm going to do it.
I believe in you.
There's something else that I'm reading. I feel like it's a nonfiction book, but I can't remember what it is.
Ooh.
I've been reading a lot of articles. Maybe that's what I've been reading so many academic articles because we have some like the equivalent of doing a thesis. We do a professional inquiry project where it ends up being a thesis thing. So I've been reading lots of articles on diversity and inclusion. So my brain is full of that. So I think I'm projecting. So maybe I need some Katie Robert to cleanse the soul.
Palette.
To cleanse the soul and the palate. I'm still trying to beat Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
I did get the Master Sword. I have beat all 4 Divine Beasts. I just need to get to Ganon's castle and beat that man.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to beat the little robot guys with the red eyes. They keep killing me. And I did go buy the new Zelda game because I got really frustrated. But I can't give up, so I'm going to finish it. Yeah. But in case you were like on the edge of your seat wondering if I had beat the game between July and now, I have not. Check in next July. That's what I'm currently reading.
Nice. I just finished, I'm pointing because I can't pull it out, The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. Dun, dun, dun. One of my most anticipated reads of the year, and it did not disappoint, I'm happy to say. For anybody that has been living under a rock and maybe isn't sure about this latest V.E. Schwab release, it is a continuation of the Shades of Magic series, and it takes place 7 years after the end of A Conjuring of Light, and it follows new characters, old characters, and we are doing more exploring of the magic. There is a group of people hell-bent on taking out the king that is unkillable, and it just like brings a smile to my face to be talking about it again, because I really love this series so much. Like there's just something about it that is my genre of fantasy. Like it just brings me so much joy to read books like this. And I am always skeptical when an author decides to revisit a series many years after it's been published. Even knowing Victoria's publishing schedule, like she doesn't often publish books like in a row from a series. It's usually like one book from a series, a book from a different series, going back to a different series, like and so knowing that about her did give me a little bit of ease. But it really amazed me how they were able to keep the magic alive from that original series and not only like expand upon it, but integrate these new characters and new ideas and keep it fresh. Like I didn't feel like she was retelling the same story again. It really felt like a completely new story. Everybody had moved forward. in their lives. I did have,
I love
there were a
that.
couple like pacing things and a couple character things that I had questions about towards the end of the book. But it was truly incredible. And then this morning, because I needed a new audiobook, I started One Dark Window, which I think, I'm gonna pull it up, is by Rachel Gillig. This I am listening to on Audible because I looked at Alexa and I was like, do you want me to use a credit to get this? And she said, sure. So yeah,
good.
it's by Rachel Gillig. And I'm trying to pull up the synopsis. I've seen so many people talk about it this year. The sequel just came out.
Yeah.
And I know Zoran's Fable book club, Fantasy and Friends, is reading it this month. So I've seen more people talking about it. It says it's for fans of Uprooted and For the Wolf, which if you've been around, you know I freaking love For the Wolf and For the Throne, by Hannah Witten. It is a gothic fantasy about a maiden who must unleash the monster within her to save her kingdom, but the monster in her head isn't the only threat lurking.
Woo, spooky alert.
Spooky
Sounds
alert.
good.
I'm on chapter 3, and the audiobook is fast-paced. Like, things are happening. It is rolling along. Character development is already happening. We already know about her past and her present, which by chapter 3, I'm happy to be in that place. I love fast-paced fantasy like that, where the setting and characters are meshed so well that everything is just moving together at the same time. And there's no like stopping to set an atmosphere or to get a character in place. That's my favorite thing. So I'm really excited. And then the sequel is out, so I'll probably
really?
Yeah, so I think I'll just back to back it, probably.
What's
At
the
least
sequel called?
I think it's out. Hold please.
Hold please. Hold please. Hold please.
Two Twisted Crowns.
Two Twisted Crowns. Okay.
And it came out on October 7th, or it's coming out October 17th. Like,
amazing. So like very soon. But you'll finish it just in time.
Yes. Oh, I kept seeing 1 credit. So it's pre-order for 1 credit. So it literally comes out on Tuesday. So right on time for me to read this book and then follow it up with the sequel. Which this year I've been doing that a lot. Just continuing a series instead of taking a break, which has been fun.
How cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll have to check it out. This seems very interesting. The cover is gorgeous.
I know, it's stunning. And I remember seeing it in the bookstore ages ago, and I took a picture of it and I was like, okay, I think I would really like this book. And then I've heard murmurings about it being good, but I just haven't picked it up. I think because I was in such a deep dark fantasy era back at the beginning of the year, and then I was like, okay, it's time for romances. And now I'm back. It's like, it's time for the gothic fantasies, the dark fantasies, the dark fantasy romances, like all of that. That's what I'm in the mood for now. So
I mean, it's got a lot of ratings.
I know.
35,000 ratings. Wow.
Right? Are you on Goodreads?
I'm gonna have to check it out. I am. I am. So 4.33 with 35,000 ratings.
Yeah, it has on Audible, it has a 4.5-star rating with 498 ratings, which is really good.
Audible. Yeah, everyone I know who I'm like friends with has rated it a 4 or 5 stars, which is really cool. We'll have to check it out.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm sure we'll be talking about that as I continue to read it. And I have a little home day ahead of me, so I'm hoping that I can a home day. I know. I'm hoping that I can just pop that on my headphones and put it around my house and give myself a reason to clean.
Make some bread, mayhaps.
You know, I might make some bread and I might make some scones for breakfast tomorrow.
Scones. Yum. What kind of scones we talking here?
They are maple cinnamon, I think. They were the guest gift at Regina's wedding last month, my friend Regina.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, so they're like it's like Vermont maple syrup thing from the King Arthur brand. And so they cleared this table at the front and just had boxes of this scone mix for you to take, and then not everybody took them, so at the breakfast the next day they had even more boxes in case people had missed it. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy that, thank you. So I've been waiting for the right moment to make it. So I think today if I prep them, and then I can just throw them in the oven tomorrow morning.
Yum. Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I'm excited.
Well, I think that's that. I'm like, I don't know when we started, so I don't know how long we've been talking.
Me neither, but I think, you know, for an unplanned episode where we just wanted to catch up with each other on screen, this was productive. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Danielle and I are back. We have not discussed in what capacity we are back. As you know,
Alive.
season 3 has been just a very
the middle
casual
child
season. This is the middle child. Yeah. So as we prepare for the end of the year, if you have any recommendations of episodes you would like us to put out, any guests you would like us to have on, let us know. We'll see what we can finagle, and we will catch you in the next episode. You should go ahead and follow Danielle and I on our personal platforms. I am at Deirdre Rose Morgan on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
I'm at DJ Books on TikTok, Instagram, and on Threads. You can follow me there because I hate Twitter/X. Follow me on Threads.
Follow Danielle on Threads and Pinterest.
You could.
You could also go ahead and follow the podcast on Instagram at Books on the Brain Pod. That is where you will get the latest and greatest updates of what is happening with this podcast. You should also subscribe and set up notifications on YouTube and what's it called on the podcast platforms? Subscribe, follow, and what? I've lost it. I've lost the plot. Follow us on all podcast platforms. Yeah. It would be great if you could leave us a review, rate, review, and subscribe. That's it.
Yeah.
I was like, where am I going with this?
You were doing good. I was following you.
Rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform. It really helps us out. And that's it. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.